Thank you, Chairman Smith, Ranking Member Blumenauer, as we say down south, and thank y'all, all y'all, for being here today and sharing your expertise on this critical topic. This year, we have witnessed the consequences of disjunctive, contradictory international trade policies in the Middle East, the Red Sea, and our adversaries who want to see the demise of the U.S. economy. This is why this ministerial conference is critical to coordinate with our allies and set ourselves and the world up for continued success. Ms. Shaw, you have worked extensively with the WTO as well as USMCA's dispute resolution mechanisms. From your experience and knowledge regarding trade disputes, what impact do these disputes have on long-term consumer prices, and what mechanisms should the World Trade Organization implement to ensure effective and timely resolutions?
Thank you so much for the question, Congresswoman. So dispute settlement, whether it's at the World Trade Organization or under one of our FTAs like the USMCA agreement, is fundamentally our stick, right? It's the tool that we have to hold our trading partners accountable for the discriminatory practices that they may adopt that disadvantage U.S. workers, businesses, farmers. So on that basis, what impact does it have on consumer prices? Sometimes policies that are employed by certain nations result in increased consumer prices, and that's one of the reasons that we may bring a dispute at the WTO or under one of these other forums. But the flip side that I'll offer is fundamentally we're trying to enforce the rules. And the tool that we have to enforce the rules is tariffs, right? So if we win a case at the WTO or we win a case under USMCA or any of our other FTAs, the reward that we get is the ability to impose retaliation until that country eventually complies. And there are sometimes impacts on consumer prices because tariffs are the tool that we use for that purpose. But fundamentally, in thinking about the effectiveness of dispute settlement, it should be, are we getting a result? Are we putting pressure on the other party? And how quickly are we able to give relief to our producers? So those are the types of things that you think about when, in terms of bringing a dispute. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, I was glad to hear your testimony regarding the U.S.-based small and medium-sized enterprises, such as your own, dominating the COVID-19 response in the biopharmaceutical industry. We have long been aware of the capabilities of our American entrepreneurs and small business owners to enact global change. We have a deep responsibility to protect them from bad actors, and I'm extremely concerned that our own administration isn't doing enough to protect our intellectual property protections. Apparently, it is looking at possibly expanding the TRIPS waiver to diagnostics and therapeutics. Can you explain how this action might impact the ability of U.S.-based companies to invest in further development of life-saving cures without the certainty that your IP is protected? And how this action might actually impact the ability of U.S.-based biopharmaceutical companies to collaborate with domestic and international partners in the development of life-saving products and cures?
Thank you for the question. I think this is such a critical issue when it comes to how innovation is done and why the U.S. leads the world in innovation in biotechnology and other industries. It's because we have always stood for strong intellectual property protections. I work with brilliant scientists all over the world. And so when we talk about some of those that are in favor of these kind of intellectual property waivers, like China, India, and South Africa, they have absolutely brilliant scientists as well, many of whom I've had the opportunity to work with both in their country as well as those that have come to the U.S. to work alongside of us. And I've often wondered, why is it that innovation is so powerful here in the U.S.? And it is because we have always stood for strong intellectual property rights, for people to be incentivized to own what they have invented. And that also translates into being able to find funding associated with those. And so it is a delicate ecosystem that we have created in this country that has allowed us to be the world leader in innovation in these kinds of industries, in high-tech industries and in biotechnology, in medicines and developing these things. And we saw it displayed during COVID, where companies all over the U.S. stood up and said, we want to help find solutions. And so it's important to understand that this is what keeps us as the innovative leader of the world, and we should not weaken that by agreeing to TRIPS waivers.
Thank you. I yield back.